Judge Jewell has called the meeting to order, and I am going to take roll. Tommy Jewell,
Present.
Van Layden.
She had said she was gonna call.
Yeah, she said she was going to be available by Zoom.
Yeah, I haven't seen her pop up yet. I saw a number earlier, but it disappeared. So I'll keep watching for her. David Montoya,
I'm virtually here.
we see you.
We virtually see you.
Yeah. Joseph Lopez. Oh, he didn't unmute.
Joseph, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Okay. Good. W. James Stewart,
Present, ma'am.
present. Debbie Strong,
President.
Strong in.
strong in. Well, she's strong, so.
That's true.
Let's change it to strongest.
Nice. There you go. Debbie Dodge is absent from this meeting.
She said she might join by Zoom as well, didn't she?
Oh, no,
I
she
didn't
sent me
hear
an
that.
email that just said she wasn't going to be at the meeting.
Okay.
And,
But she had no comments, so.
and
Okay.
Michael Wisner
Here.
in person.
In person, here.
in person,
Elena Giacchi,
here.
have a quorum. Yeah.
Thank you, Danette. The chair will so declare, and we'll proceed with our agenda. I might ask for one deviation. I know that Chief Deputy Carrillo is on the line. I think there had been an email from her indicating that her time with us is fairly short. But in addition, she had indicated that the sheriff-elect might accompany her. There's Daniel. Daniel's along with us. Thank you, Daniel. And so I wanted to yield to her for the sheriff's office comment, and certainly if the sheriff-elect is with her to hear his comments as well. And so with your permission, I'll ask Chief Deputy Carrillo to address us.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Could use a little volume. I don't know if that's our problem or yours.
It's probably mine, but unless I scream a little bit louder, which I'll try, I don't know as if there's anything I could do with my device.
Okay.
The sheriff-elect is not with me. I did just invite him. He said that he had some other prior engagements going on, that he was going to try to attend this one, but it was definitely not a for sure thing. So if he shows up after or after I've logged off, that's a possibility, but I didn't get confirmation either way.
Understood.
Also, there are no other real comments, just from the sheriff's office, but I am available for any questions or anything that you guys might need from me.
Well, I'll start by thanking you. I know in addition to staffing this meeting, you are available most obviously to our vice chair at intermittently between meetings. So we appreciate your availability, your prompt responses, the breadth of information that you provide to us. It has, I think, literally been invaluable. And so that starts the commentary and questions. I'm hoping that you will remain available to us in whatever role you continue to occupy in the sheriff's office. The short time that you have been with us has aided us tremendously. So please know that. Other questions, comments?
I just want to second everything you just said. Thank you, Lori.
And
You're
she
welcome.
gets to call you Lori. I still have to call you Chief Deputy.
However it is you want to address me is fine.
That's kind. Anything else? Well, I know you have some other commitments, so we appreciate you being here for the time that you are here. Is somebody going to remain from the sheriff's office, or once you leave, is that it?
No, once I leave, that's it. It's kind of a sheriff's office wide event that is going on. So I'm assuming the majority of people are going to be there.
Okay, well, thank you. And so, before we turn back to the order of the day, let me put on my county manager badge. I don't know, I wanted,
Yeah,
I
you're
want-
just gonna walk around with that thing, aren't you?
yeah, I wanted to invite the county manager down to say what I'm about to say, hoping that she would say it, and that's that, what we do here makes a difference, and the county sincerely appreciates the effort that you as board members put in here. Gee, I was gonna ask, probably starting with our vice chair, about the time commitment that this takes. It seems to me that she puts in more than a 40-hour week,
Yes,
particularly on
Yeah.
this report. So,
absolutely.
you know, and
It's mostly because I don't know how to format things. So, I put in one new word and like the whole pagination and the paragraphs, everything changes. And then I have to figure out what I did wrong. And that's actually taking a lot of time. So,
well, you and the other members need to know that your time is appreciated.
thank you.
This is not an easy endeavor,
No,
both for you and for the limited staff that we have. I mean, Floyd has had to endure the external slings and arrows that our job, that our volunteerism creates. But Danette has to endure the internal with me in her ear and others. And so it's sincerely appreciated. Danette was just telling us she had to be at the day's end yesterday rather than getting full written drafts of this 12th report to us. And so this is not all that she does. And so we need to understand that. And I say that not only to thank everybody, but to say, if this is a worthwhile endeavor, we're going to have to advocate for resources. And once we get this report together, obviously I have the responsibility of presenting it to the county commission. I invite you all to join me in that task. In addition to going back to the person who appointed you here and saying, look, is this worthwhile to the county? Do you all really want us and need us? I mean, we've encountered some weighty issues, it seems to me. And I hope maybe a commissioner is there. I'm not sure what the feedback is from them with respect to, obviously they haven't gotten the report yet. And so I don't want to be premature in a judging their assessment of our effort. But I would certainly invite some feedback in terms of this effort, because my sense is that, and my sense is just based on myself, that we get a little weary in this effort. And so, as an attorney, I have an obligation to provide some pro bono services. And I think I've exceeded my,
services.
yeah, I've exceeded the mandatory minimum, let me say that.
Yeah.
And so I suspect that it's the same for all of you, and know that it's well beyond mandatory minimum for our vice chair. So, Mr. Wismer.
I've put in a few hours myself on this endeavor, and I personally believe it's good. We're one of the youngest boards or newest boards in the Bernalillo County Commission system. So I think it's worthwhile for all of us to participate and volunteer our time. The other part of the question I would like you to ask is the sheriff's office getting any value out of our board and us playing the liaison between the public and their comments and their concerns and relaying them to the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office? I think that's an important component, as well as what you say, the Bernalillo County Commission's reaction to us.
Okay, and I think that's a worthwhile question, and if I think Chief Deputy Carrillo has probably left us, but the record can reflect that question. Vice Chair?
Well, I think there have been a few things that are obviously respond, well, I don't know, obviously, that would seem to be correlating with comments we've made, such as some changes to standard operating procedures and a few others, the
Crime
body
statistics.
cameras and, yeah, crime statistics. So, you know, I mean, I think it's a certainly valid question, and I think that we should pose it directly to the sheriff's office. But, you know, I think there have been some positive changes, so.
And, all right, let me take my county manager's hat off, having
now.
thanked you on behalf of the county. And say relative to that the third leg on this three-legged stool is the public. And so I know that, I'm sorry, it's Mr.
Shoulder.
Mr. Schoner
Yes.
is here and has some comment. So actually, we are at the place in the agenda for public comment, understanding that we have just come off of that short conversation. I want you all to hold that thought, because when we publish this report, again, I invite your company in its presentation to the commission, and I want you all to be in a position to advocate for this endeavor. And when I say that, I mean, the staff that were provided do an excellent job, but my God, our vice chair should not work full-time to produce a report. It just shouldn't be like that.
Well, but I also do think.
Well,
that
do
going
you want us to get you a formatting lesson?
Yes,
that
that would be the most helpful thing. But actually, I think going forward, since we now have, you know, a full complement of 9 members, and we have a whole bunch of different subcommittees, that rather than, you know, one person kind of pulling it all together, that each subcommittee should be responsible for putting together that, you know, that section of the report. And I also think we should talk about whether we want to just submit one report at the end of the year, sort of, you know, as things.
Have periodic.
Yeah, like, you know, along the
Quarterly,
way, and then just conglomerate it all.
I don't, and so that's a whole discussion within itself, and I don't want to short shrift it.
No, but I'm just saying.
I think
you know,
those are
for
great
future
ideas,
discussion.
and I know Debbie Dodge had said something about, oh, well, I've got some great ideas about, and I think hers was on, you know, our advice role and how that should look and so forth. And so people come with some great ideas. I don't want to dismiss them, but I don't want to consume the meeting
Right.
undertaking them at this time. So hold that thought.
So maybe for January, we could put some ideas forth of what the new year would look like. And I know we talked about having us go to the city county meetings and things like that, but really what we would be reporting on or what we would be doing.
I rather thought that you were going to say, Elena, about our going out in the community.
Yeah, well, I think that's really a positive thing from all over the Bernalillo County. And then I know when I was.
But you're just gonna go ahead and discuss it anyway, even though I said hold your thought.
Well, I was just gonna do a report on the sheriff component.
Okay,
And I know that when we were at a ward meeting, he was saying.
he the sheriff-elect or the
He, the
sheriff?
sheriff-elect,
Okay.
yeah, said how much he supported the sword
Okay,
and really wanted to see that grow and that he would listen to the recommendations.
well,
So.
that's good feedback.
Yeah.
I appreciate knowing that. Anything else before we turn the floor over to our public guest?
Judge, not to push your patience on
Okay.
this, but I could echo what Elena has said here. I've talked to John Allen quite a bit as a private citizen,
Uh-huh.
and that's what he's saying to me too.
Well, that's good feedback relative to Mr. Wismer's question and comment. Thank you. And we'll conclude there and revert to our agenda. And please, if you have comments for us, please come to the table. I think somehow they can see you in that,
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
in that contraption. So I want to give them that opportunity. And again, you know, I am nearing old age. So repeat your name for us.
Henry Schoner.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm so glad to be here. I was here last time here at Alvarado Square, I was talking to Floyd. I came actually, and as I stepped in the door, Judge Jewell, I asked him the question, I would like to join you. I'm in the North Valley and David Montoya is already doing the work that I would have thought I might do, although I understand there are at-large members for, I'll do that, but I may very well, David out there, I want to talk to you. Let me start backwards. I had a number of things to say. This business of volunteering. I'm on the advisory council of the Department of Senior Affairs. And one of the questions that came up at our celebration breakfast at the name of the place, I forgot, but it was a big deal. I'm so proud to be part of that because it's really a great organization. And we are wondering about volunteering accounting of, that might not fit into a particular square, if you know, in a particular home. I'm gonna be meeting with one of the members, with Nick Bonaro, who's in the mayor's office, about this issue of volunteering, maybe something to come out of that. I think you ought to be able to, what happens is these things count when you have a grant. Volunteer hours bring in money into organizations. That's really, I think, what could happen. That's the idea that my colleague.
And let me interrupt you shortly. Typically in public comment, I have a timekeeper and
Yes.
and your time is limited. So
Okay,
I haven't asked Annette to do that, but you all keep me mindful of the
Okay.
time. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I'm testing your patience.
all
I'm
right.
very much into community policing. Like you, I've talked a lot, sir. I don't remember your name.
Stuart.
Jim, I've talked quite a bit with John Allen. And I think he's he has a lot of ideas of things that I want. Very often you get complaints. I understand why people do that, compassion, right? And you got to work with them. But I like to think about being able to address the things that I want. Again, the new sheriff. I was hoping you would be at the North Area Command today, and I thought you did have planned to do that. Am I wrong about that?
No, let me just briefly address that. The board had concern about moving in that direction.
Yes.
Speaking of David, there he is. My goodness. How do you do that? Did you jump out of the screen? Welcome.
Say his name and he shall
Wow,
appear.
and we didn't even lose quorum. He's a genius.
Technology.
Again, David Montoya.
You're my man.
Howdy, neighbor.
And so David had urged that meeting. The board had some concern that we were moving too quickly. But before we moved into visiting substations, we wanted to make sure that we weren't excluding segments of the community who might be put off from going to a substation.
Great.
So we have temporarily at least backed off of that.
Okay.
And so we have not we started out on Zoom. We hadn't even met each other live not too long ago. And so finally we had a live meeting here in Alvarado Square. And so this is our second or third here. What, here?
Third?
How many figures was that, Mr. Stewart? Two?
Yeah.
This is our third? Okay. So we've been here, we've been here now 3 times. Hello?
You're here, Diane.
Oh, okay, there's Diane, great. We've been here now 3 times and we haven't moved out. We had scheduled a meeting at the new International District Library, and that was going to be our second outing. So, I mean, that's on the back burner right now. It's not absolutely discarded, but.
Yeah, well, that's part of reaching out to the community. I heard you talking about it. Great. Well, that's pretty much all. that I'm interested in. You guys are talking about.
Well, I certainly appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts and, you know, apparently you've visited with individual members about some of those ideas. And
Just, David, I'm, talking to you right now. This is a, funny place to do it, but I would like to talk to you in the future.
Okay, yeah.
About what goes on in the field.
Sure.
Because I've done numerous roadshows and I'm deeply involved.
Okay, now that I've given you 5 minutes, is there anybody else there, Danette, that I've got to give equal time to?
Yep, we're good. And we got,
Okay. No other members of the public need to address us.
We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Great job. Great
Keep
work.
part of what we do.
Yeah.
Dr. Lane, can you hear us? I want to make sure.
Hello? Can
Hello?
you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm here.
Great.
I'm present. I've
All
been
right.
present. Thank you. I'm on the phone.
Okay.
All right. So let me go back and ask for approval of the November 18, 2022 minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Record may reflect we had 2 seconds, but show Vice Chair strongly in seconding. It's moved and properly seconded. Any unreadiness? Those in favor of approval of those minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Minutes stand approved. We've had the sheriff's office comment. We'll go to item 6 on the agenda, old business. 6A is the board will vote on whether to provide advisory recommendations to Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office for the following issues. And it seems to me that this is all a part of the report. Shall we address it all together?
Sure.
Let me then turn the chair over to Vice Chair Strongen to run us through the 12th draft of the report that she's compiled for us.
Well, we're up to draft 12. I haven't gotten any comments other than, let's see, Debbie Dodge wrote in that she had no comments. I don't know if that means she had no comments that she was conveying by email or she had no comments, but that was what she wrote in. And one other person wrote in that he had an objection.
And when you say you're talking particularly about this draft?
Yes.
Okay.
This draft.
Because we
12.
have kind of tentatively approved language in previous drafts, right? So we're not back at square one.
And at the last meeting where I believe you had to leave a little early, but we had gone through every one of the recommendations that have not changed at all.
Right. I had some language changes that we discussed that are reflected here.
Right.
I'm satisfied.
Okay. And there were a few others that other people had suggested or just sort of moving things around a little. But I think everyone was in at least tentative agreement that this is it. And I guess there's only one thing that we have to keep updating and that's unfortunately for Daniel on him, just to keep, we have a sentence in there just saying there haven't been any major settlements with the county on cases involving the sheriff's office since SORB was, since the inception of SORB. And Daniel keeps checking that, and so far that continues to be accurate. The only other thing was that car with the
Symbol, whether
the
it's.
symbology that Lori Carrillo confirmed for me yesterday that car is still in use.
I just saw it.
And yeah, so that recommendation would stay the same. And I think, was there, and on the.
So much for
on
advice.
On Patrol Live, I think maybe it was David, you were opposed to, you agreed with the recommendation that they shouldn't do it,
Yeah.
but not with the part saying, but if they do it, they have to then opt out. You didn't want to give that option to go ahead if they could allow the public to opt out.
I think I expressed my opinion. I think it's a really dumb idea, but I'll.
No, tell us how you really feel.
I think that it is the #1 rated streaming show,
Really?
on Reels TV.
Oh, unreal.
Yeah, And so, you know, I think opt-out is appropriate language.
Okay.
So I'm with you.
So I don't think anybody has any disagreements, corrections, or anything else. So would it be appropriate at this time to just vote on accepting the report?
I'm good with that.
And
Same
Diane,
here. Me too. Yes,
yes, do you have something to add?
no,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't. Great work, as always.
Thank you. Michael,
I would just like to recommend, in order to solidify our position, that we take a separate vote for all the recommendations, say a motion that combines all of the recommendations in the report for the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. Then a second vote on all of the recommendations for the Bernalillo County Commission, and then perhaps a third vote to approve the report in its draft.
Wow, can we have that in a motion? I mean, we're,
I'm
Let's
willing
consider
to
that
do
the
that, if
motion.
that's okay with the chair.
I'll second.
okay, so all in favor of,
Let's
wait,
do,
oh, we have to do 3 in a
let's
row.
do three
So
motions.
if
You
you-
understand what I'm saying, Danette?
if you want those- That motion can be for the
Oh, to
for the
proceed.
recommended procedure.
Okay, so everybody who is in favor of proceeding in that manner,
Restating the motion, there will be 3 votes, one on the sheriff's recommendations, one on the county commission recommendations, and then the third on the full report. Okay,
okay.
Chair?
So all in favor of proceeding that way, say aye.
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 All opposed? Seeing no opposition, that motion carries.
Great.
I'd like to make a motion that the SOAR board approve the recommendations for the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office as outlined in the 2022 report.
second that nomination.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any,
Aye.
any opposed? All right, the motion carries. No opposition. We do note the absence of one member of the board, but even if, I believe she would vote the same way that the majority, that everybody here is, but it wouldn't make a difference in terms of carrying the vote. So,
Okay.
all right,
I'd like to make the motion that the SOAR board approve the recommendations for the Bernalillo County Commission as outlined in the report for 2022.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
I think he's voting.
Right,
in
aye,
favor.
right. Okay, seeing no opposition, that motion carries.
Okay, and now my third motion is that the SOAR board approve the draft 12 of the annual report as required by the Bernalillo County Commission and offer a standing ovation to its author.
With the care that was taken in making that motion, I second.
All right, I just want to amend it slightly because, first of all, everybody should get a round of applause because pretty much everybody contributed at least, some part.
No, modesty is not going to get you out of this.
But the other thing is that there's just one thing that needs the continuing updating, which is that one provision about the judgment. So subject to any updates that we get from Daniel on that one issue, I second.
The second.
Can I ask a question before we make that final one? Is just there's a few little misspells here.
Oh,
So is that going to include that, or should we just say barring some grammatical
Well,
components?
that's a good point. I'll just manipulate the motion here a little bit
Okay.
to say that we approve the report conditioned on additional information from the Bernalillo County Attorney's Office and any editorial changes that need to be made at the discretion of the report's author.
Second. the seconder accepts that.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody opposed, so the motion carries.
So is this where we?
This is where we,
No.
Thank you. But next year, you're all gonna be
Debbie,
doing more in this, so.
That's why we're clapping now.
I just want to make sure Daniel didn't have something to add because I saw your picture come up.
And I'm just trying to keep out the way, but answer when necessary. There's no settlement changes as of today. So
Great.
it's accurate as of, and I don't foresee the legal system getting expedited during the month of December. So
that's a
Right.
good metric.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Daniel, while you're there, the issue of proxy, while not agendized, is certainly with the board. And I know that Vice Chair Strongen has asked some questions of you with respect to our voting. I think Ms. Giachi had some commentary on that. It is not a part of our procedure. There is no proxy provided. But give us a sense of your opinion with respect to us voting by proxy.
So it really falls down to the Open Meetings Act, which I believe this board has adopted and most Bernalillo County Commissions sub boards have adopted. Just from the top down, the Bernalillo County Commission doesn't allow proxy votes. And I did research because this issue was kind of, I mean, it's a good question, to be fair. The issue did come up in the New Mexico Sentencing Commission in 2010, and the Attorney General opined that the intent of the Open Meeting Act was to appoint members to participate, either physically or by telephone or through teleconference. And because those options are available, the intent was not to have a proxy, but to make it easy for that member to appear. If there's an emergency, then for whatever reason, that member just cannot appear. And for that reason, they opined that proxy votes may be in violation of the Open Meetings Act. And I did discuss with Julie Ann Baca. She's one of the, I think she's the head of the BCC administrative and schedules all the meetings for everyone. She did mention to me that it could also lead to potential rolling quorum issues if there's an ongoing proxy issue and there's, communications, then theoretically that person can have 2 votes leading to a potential rolling quorum issue. So because of those 2 potential issues, it is the opinion of the county not to proceed with a proxy vote or not to do it. But it would also fall in line with the rest of the boards across the county.
We thank you for taking that issue up, Daniel. And Madam Vice Chair, Ms. Giachi, any further commentary?
So there were a couple of people that I had take a look at it, and every single one of them pointed out that this was an 8-year-old, or in this case, 13-year-old document. But one of the things they said was that when you avoid the kind of rolling quorums that you were talking about, what was going on is they said that having a proxy that would fill the seat of now there's a quorum, they said, no, that wouldn't be allowed. But if you had a quorum already, then you could use a proxy because the seat of being a quorum and being the open meetings and being out to show everybody what it is, that would be okay. It just wouldn't be okay to fill a proxy with making the fulfillment of a quorum. So that's what they were saying. And so in other words, that could happen. As long as you have a quorum, you could have a proxy. You couldn't have a proxy to fulfill the need of a quorum. Yeah.
Sure.
May I speak? It's Diane here. I disagree with the use of proxies on principle. One is present or one is not. A vote can be delayed if someone is absent who has something to contribute. I don't think we should spend our time keeping track of proxies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And let me just be clear, Mr. Montoya, there's not a vote on the floor
Yeah.
with respect to
Mhm.
us going to a proxy system. It would require, in my understanding anyway, an amendment to our procedures. I mean, rolling quorum is one of the issues. Obviously, Mr. Robertson touched on several other issues that it brings up. And so it's not on the floor. Mr. Matoya, go ahead.
So a couple things on this. Well, my question would be, have we had trouble meeting quorum? I mean, I've only been a member for 3 meetings. And 2, this is a 13-year-old ruling, right? Like before we had Zoom
Yeah.
and all those things. And so,
Well,
I think technology has
Just,
kind of maybe superseded the requirement for proxies, because we
Yeah.
can Zoom into meetings now. you
I
know?
see your hand, Daniel, and this is precisely what he's saying is in the AG's
Yeah.
opinion.
Really?
That there
Yes.
are enough technological
Okay.
means of participation that proxy shouldn't be needed.
So now I'm gonna check you on it big time on that.
Okay,
Yes, there's communication in Western world. No, there's no communication if you're on reservation land. Trying to zoom in, I mean, remember the whole COVID thing and all of the difficulties. I mean, we're just getting some of our reservation areas to have
Broadband,
that.
yeah.
And so when I'm on reservation area, there's many times I can't zoom in because there is no Wi-Fi or there is no internet. So I just want you to know that a lot of people don't have access, and other areas that don't have Wi-Fi's or some of the outlying areas in New Mexico, it's very difficult to get that.
let me
also no
say this with
There's no
respect.
phones.
That is, I'm sure, the reality.
My
This
reality.
this is not my opinion. That's the AG's opinion. If we want Daniel to seek a new AG's opinion, let's have him do that.
Yeah,
But
that would be great.
you know, I'm not here trying to change the AG's opinion about why there shouldn't be proxies.
No,
don't
but I'm
have
just saying.
We don't have them at
this-
this time.
The electronic piece
No,
does
no.
not work in all areas.
I get you, because I'm half my week is spent in Mora,
Oh,
and all
see,
the
that's-
towers are burned down.
Yeah.
The good news is that I get a 30-day advance notice of when there is a meeting. So I can manage my schedule to make that meeting
Yeah.
every 30 days.
And not only that, but Mr. Montoya can jump from the screen into this seat mysteriously. So,
Beam me up, Sky.
Yeah.
I mean,
As long as he's in Bernalillo.
if we need I mean, we've got
Yeah.
local council, we've got an AG's opinion. We don't have a proxy procedure. If we want
Well,
Daniel
he
to,
said, you mentioned having a current AG opinion to find out what that is.
We can have
because,
that in January with a
Yeah.
new AG.
So it would be good,
Daniel, will you?
or
go
I can
ahead.
get it either.
there
or.
are, and I'm sorry, there are specific, I can ask my boss. I know that getting an attorney general opinion is not as easy as me just asking him. There are certain requirements to actually ask for an official opinion, either through an elected official, and maybe the Bernalillo County Commission can do it, but I know that me just asking will probably not be the case. I can ask my boss. I know he's moved the pieces to get one done in the past. But the reason the Attorney General opinion matters so much is because they're the ones that prosecute violations of the Open Meetings Act.
We can do it to the county manager.
Likely, maybe, maybe.
You're not gonna let go of that bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a very interesting
Mhm.
Debbie,
problem. I don't feel strongly one way or the other.
Yeah,
So
Debbie.
I mean, I think it would be a worthwhile thing to be able to do in an emergency situation, and I think even the OMA allows for certain flexibility when there is an emergency. I'm not sure if it would apply to proxies, but the whole purpose and intent and, every part of that act is so that the public can participate and view every aspect of of decision-making. And having a proxy doesn't allow that because it gives you the final result, but it doesn't show the process for arriving there. And there's some commentary in the AG's opinion that I found, which was from 2015, or it's actually just an analysis of the statute with extensive commentary and examples. And all of that analysis, which is 7 years old, but the statute I don't think has changed.
And when you say the statute, the Open Meetings Act?
The Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
And so I think that's the important, the gist of the problem here is that the public has a right under the Open Meetings Act to view every aspect of the process. And having a proxy means you're not, the public is not given access to that.
Potentially backdoor deals for the proxy, huh?
Well,
Right.
Judge, I may be the dimmest bulb in the room, but why are we even talking about that?
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Goodness.
because of the issues that I have on the reservation to not being able to communicate,
Come to this meeting.
to come to this meeting. Yeah, so I think with that, I'm gonna have to reconsider my involvement in SOAR. I will look at my calendar and see how many times I'm gonna actually be available to be either in person. But if I'm on the reservation, I won't be able to communicate, which means that I might miss half of the meetings or more. And so I'll take a look at my schedule. It's getting pretty full right now. So I'm okay with that. I think it's fine.
I think the next meeting is January 13th.
I think it's at the bottom of our agenda there, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, and of course, the meetings aren't cast in stone. We have
Isn't it, every second Friday of each
Yeah,
month?
it
Yeah.
is.
But like
So,
the judge said, it's not cast in stone.
Yeah.
Depends on-
so yeah, we've taken some care to approximate when our meetings would be by telling the public the second Friday of the month at 11. And
yeah.
we have flexibility from there,
I think,
Elena. So we would hate to throw out your participation,
Well,
but
I think
mean,
your
it
voice
what
is
it
very important. And it's in my short time that I've been here. It
Thank
holds
you.
weight, it has value. And I think that, if we've got 30 days out and we could accommodate you, let's be flexible, if we need to be.
Well, that would be great. I mean, I can give you my schedule.
I mean, that's,
well, why don't you do that? Why don't we see if we can adjust our meeting schedule to accommodate.
Because I know, four
Availability.
days, 4 times already for the next full year that fall on like Friday, or like I would be in the air or something on a Friday. So, but I
Can you
can,
get that scheduled to
Mhm,
us
I
and
can.
then we can try to
Yeah,
schedule
I
it?
absolutely
Can we get
can.
you an appropriation for some broadband?
For the entire Navajo Nation, go
Sure.
for it. We would appreciate that, or Nez Perce, yeah.
You can make that happen. That'd be great, because they've been trying for a long time.
Well,
I'm
let's,
hoping to get Wi-Fi to Ukraine. They should be
You
able
would
to get
think,
it here.
right? You would think.
all right.
Call Elon Musk.
Mr. Stewart's point is well taken. Let's
Great,
Okay.
return to
thank you.
agendized business. I think, however, and I'm looking at this, the report was the business that was scheduled.
I think.
And so,
Right.
I know I have at least one more thing to discuss, but are there other items that we should take up?
And so for next month, you're going to try to invite the sheriff again? To,
I will certainly, at the board's behest,
yeah. 'cause that
send
would
an
be
express
real
invitation. In addition, I don't know when he takes office. Do we have a-
January 1st, right?
January 1st.
Yeah,
So if the meeting were the 13th, he would, it would be anticipated that he would have the invitation of this board
Mhm.
anyway, but
Right.
if it's the board's pleasure, I'll
Yes.
express another
that'd be great.
desire to have him here.
Just a quick question. Will you or Danette let us know when this report comes up on the Bernalillo County Commission's agenda so that we can attend? it?
So we can all attend and
Now,
support
what did we
it?
say, Debbie? We have to submit it by the January meeting?
We have to submit it by our last meeting in January.
Okay.
So it would have to be by January 13th.
Okay.
Is that the meeting date?
You guys haven't,
Well, I mean, that-
voted or decided, but
That would be the regular
That's
next
10
meeting.
a.m., I guess.
So Friday the 13th.
Oh, really? We're gonna do our thing on Friday the
Well,
13th?
I wondered,
Nothing?
it would have to be based on when the board,
Good.
when the county commission meets.
Yeah.
So it could be before that, since we've approved the report. It's
It
just a
could be
matter of
now, right? I
putting
mean,
in the
like at
table
the end
the
of the year
content.
or at beginning of the year, which,
Yeah, well, let me see, I don't know, Jeanette, do you have some BCAF looking up?
Council, commission meeting is what, always the first,
Tuesday,
Tuesday?
First Tuesday?
correctly? First Tuesday or second?
This time is the second, right? It's
I think
13th
so.
this time.
Well, the 13th is our meeting and it's a Friday, and that's what they're saying. We're meeting on Friday, as they were hiding under the table.
So basically, once you guys get the report done, it will be submitted to Julianne Baca, and she's the one that submitted to county commission agenda. So
Okay.
that's how.
And so we can let the board know if the commission schedules it for. a meeting.
We'll know, because it'll show up on their agenda.
Right,
And then I can keep in contact with Julianne, which I do all the time.
okay,
Because I will have to submit it to her once you guys sign off on it. Once I get submitted to her, then she'll have to vote to get it onto her agenda.
right.
So that we'll know. So it could be in on February, for all we know.
Well, or we could date the report as of January 1 and, submit it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of checking
Yeah,
a few
that
typos.
that though doesn't ensure when it gets on the commission
No,
agenda.
but it probably has a better chance of getting
Yeah.
on.
And
sooner.
understand that, I guess January 1, we have a new commission as well. We have
Yeah.
2 new members.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, we
I'm-
need commissioners.
that's fine if you want to undertake that. I mean,
No
the,
problem.
the report has been
Yeah.
approved by this board, subject to any grammatical
Right.
amendments and,
So at your next meeting, sign it, have it here to sign.
well, I guess I have authority to sign for the board, so
If you're the one
if
who
we're,
needs to sign.
if it's ready, we can do that deal.
Is there a place to sign on the report?
Make your mark.
Yeah,
I think my letter was the signature last year, was it not, Deb?
Oh, yes, okay.
And the
So,
letter's in there, right?
Something last year.
so
right,
then you can sign.
yeah,
Right.
so that's just forward by the chair, so that's fine.
Mhm.
Okay.
I feel the power.
Yeah, wait, there it is.
So we have your authority to get that out as early as we can,
Yeah,
dated January 1.
dated, I mean, I can date it as of, or January 1.
Yeah, okay. So we'll carry forward with that.
Okay.
So in terms of a meeting Friday, January 13, is there obviously there's some trepidation about that. Is there a desire to change that first?
Elena just had
Elena?
it.
Yeah, the 13th, I'm definitely not in town, but I could do any of the following Fridays, the 20th and 27th. The 6th, I'll be out of town celebrating my 49th anniversary.
When's the Martin Luther King holiday, and is that that'd be on a Monday, and
Right.
usually legislature starts
It's
after
the
that.
16th, January 16th is a Monday.
Okay, so the 13th starts that long weekend.
So the 20th? Does that work?
20th, 23rd, 27th
Are okay for you?
are fine with me. And I can nudge even on the 26th.
Is there a motion?
Okay. The 20th doesn't work for me,
The
or unless we move the appointment
20,
and the meeting back.
23rd, 26th, 27th.
I
7th,
guess,
either any of those.
are all
days.
those Fridays?
No, 23rd is a Monday, 26th is a Thursday, 27th is a Friday.
You guys want to continue on Fridays? Is that the best configuration?
Works for me.
Would
Anyone
the
else?
20th work for everyone?
No.
Not for,
Well, it would if we make our meeting later, we made it in the afternoon, but I
Oh,
have
I
an
can do
appointment
that.
in the morning.
I can do
But-
that on the 20th.
That's
I'm
fine.
free.
Okay, so if we change our meeting from 11 to 1. Would that
Does
be
that work
okay?
for
That's fine.
Cool.
On the
Thank
20th?
you so much for
Yeah.
doing that. I appreciate it.
And our requirement with reference to open meetings is easily met, so
Right.
there's not a problem with that, so.
Thank you.
As
for
long as the
doing
agenda is published with the.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on the 20th.
it At 1. So we're just
If-
moving it from 11 to 1 to 1.
In
Yeah,
Texas,
those-
so I'll have to be for
No, it's an hour.
that. We have our own time zone.
Right, certainly do.
Texas Standard Time.
Texas has its own time. so. Thank you, everyone, for
Yep.
doing that.
No problem.
What's the other business we need discussed?
You said you had something.
I have something, I don't know that we call it business. I had polled with respect to a holiday gathering and I got a couple of responses, and Diane Layton had suggested going to the range. I had even asked Debbie about doing something adjunct to our regular meeting, and asked Danette, can we bring food and booze in here? She said, yeah to the booze, no to the food. She didn't say that.
Did not say that.
But what is the sense of this board? And Jim Stewart kindly replied that he would have interest. I know our antenna are backed up with health concerns. So I don't want to, schedule anything that's not going to gather participation. So is there a sense of whether you guys would like to do something? Should it be at a private place or should we go to the range? So give me your senses. One, is there interest in doing something?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes. All right, Dr. Layton.
Hey, Judge, what is the range?
Range, the range is a cafe and there are several of them. There's, the closest one here now is at, Rio Grande and, I-40. But there's one in the Heights on Montgomery. The original range is out in Bernalillo.
I think it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've had a couple close. There was one on Manal that closed down and, they even have, the standard diner now that they've changed to a
Is
range.
range, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
That might be a good spot only because it also has an outdoor area.
I don't think in December we're going outdoor though. Debbie, do you? Really? Really?
Well, depends. I mean, look who's wearing a mask here. We're
That's true.
going outside.
Yeah.
That's- I hear you, okay.
At least to go in and out.
Sure. I had even thought about, I office over, in the old, cabin building, 500 Marquette, the building that's connected to City Hall. I thought about trying to get a space there. So, I mean, we have some possibilities. Shall I appoint a committee or what's your pleasure? I mean, I can overthink this or we can just get something done and have a little social time. I've talked to Danette with respect to how the county commission handles it. They just published something that there won't be an agenda. And Daniel, please, we're thereby not in violation of open meetings if we do something like that. Of course, we can't discuss business.
Right.
It's going to be social.
I defer to Daniel for an explanation on how that.
Okay, Daniel, did you hear that conversation?
The way that I've seen it done, most recently was when the deaths, the tragedy occurred with the helicopter crash.
Yes.
The county posted these notices that 3 or more county commissioners would be present at this. I think they were the funerals and the memorials. But if you do give notice, I actually don't see a problem. I mean, I wouldn't, if it's going to be purely social, just keep it purely social.
That's exactly.
So do we want to do it at,
Range cafe.
You know what? Why don't we
Stand
find
back.
somebody that's got the appropriate enthusiasm for this? Who has said yay 2 times? Oh, Diane Layton.
I've said yay, and I wrote a message. Let's find a date first. And
Okay.
then I'll see what I can do. And does anyone, I suggested the range because they have a big menu. We can go Dutch treat. They have wine and beer. They might have a room. I don't know. But there are other places, Standard Diner, or I'm not committed to the range. I just thought of it because there are 3 of them, and the food's good.
The good
They
news
have
is that
suites.
Standard Diner is now the range.
Yeah.
That's now the range on Central. Okay,
Yep.
where do you want to meet and on what date? And I'll make arrangements.
Want to get together next week before the holidays?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
And Diane
Okay.
just mentioned the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center.
Oh, yeah, I love that place.
Yeah.
Okay, IPP. Okay, I can check the restaurant.
At the
The
Indian Club?
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the restaurant.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah, I'm down for
Okay,
that.
how is, let's find a date. You want next week. Okay, how is,
The date?
I'm thinking of my own schedule. Give me a moment. Okay. Do you want to try Friday, the 16th?
I know I
It
can't
might
make,
be
I
harder
can't make
to
it. I
get
can't
it.
make
Okay.
Friday the 16th.
Okay, the 15th, the 14th? I'm thinking I have something, but I
14th,
remember.
Wednesday's the 14th, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could probably do Wednesday lunch.
I can do
Wednesday lunch. Wednesday lunch.
That
Okay,
was hard for me.
what if I make a reservation for, I'll make it for 12, 9, and Jeanette and Daniel if he wants to come, and Floyd if he wants to come. I mean, we'll make it for enough. And Elena, if she can come.
Yes, I can.
What about the
On what
people
date?
from the sheriff's office? You should invite them.
Yeah.
Lori Carrillo,
John Allen.
John Allen.
I don't know Lori Carrillo's status. He's appointed new undersheriffs.
Yeah, and it doesn't, her status doesn't matter.
I-
It doesn't matter if she can make it. We'll just extend the invitation,
Yeah.
Diane.
Okay, so
and-
who are, okay. Danette, can you tell me who we invite from there?
In the sheriff's office, it's always the 2 undersheriffs, the deputy chief, which is Lori Carrillo, and that's who he assigned to be at this board. So it's usually
Well,
Campos,
let
Lindy, and
let me say this. This is merely a casual social gathering.
Mhm.
We've come to know some people in the sheriff's office. And
Okay.
I would love to invite
Yeah.
Chief Deputy Carrillo. If there's somebody else in that community that we know, that's fine.
Under Sheriff Campos.
That's fine. Let's do that.
Okay, so, and Sheriff Gonzalez. So that's 4 people from the sheriff's office. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, and then the sheriff-elect.
If they come. Okay, so there's 12 of us if everybody comes, and 4 from the sheriff's office is 16.
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it because they're not gonna come.
I know, but, we,
They didn't invite us to their thing today.
It's a
so-
Okay.
sincere invitation,
Mhm.
so.
I probably-
okay, now, do we agree that this is
But
just
anywhere with
treat?
that.
This is just treat separate checks.
I think the county manager should
wants
be.
To authorize.
Oh, I authorize an appropriation from the board.
Right, okay, fine. All right, well then here, I'll make a reservation. I'll send you all a message. Danette, I would appreciate it if you would send out the invitation to the appropriate sheriff's people and all of us. And we'll see each other next Wednesday for lunch on the 14th. Okay, I just thought of something. Forgive me. No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
We
I
probably
haven't
need
been
to,
well.
we probably need to
Yeah.
secure the place, don't we?
We need to secure the place, and everybody knows where it is on 12th Street, north of I-40 on the west side of the street. The restaurant is just north of the entrance to the museum. Okay, we all know where we're going, and I'll confirm as soon as I get an answer.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Lane, as soon as you know, can you let me know? Because I'll have to get with Julianne Baca and get a notice needs to go out on that.
Absolutely. I'm hoping to get this done today. I'll
Thank
let
you
her-
so much.
It's my pleasure. I think this is a good thing to do.
Mhm.
We can
Okay.
rub elbows.
All right. Very
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Thank you. Any,
I'm just wondering, there's a couple of other people from the sheriff's office.
Yeah, sure.
There was Sergeant Martinez, who gave us, Peter
Yes.
Martinez, who
Yes.
gave a talk about the
school?
schools.
Right.
And Sergeant
Anyone else?
Frederickson, no, was that from here or? Yeah, there was a Sergeant Frederickson. who
What
gave
did he
us a
do?
talk. I'm trying to remember, it's in the annual report.
He was.
So now inviting these people, is it still Dutch or are we trying to
Yes.
take up a collection to cover the people in? No?
I don't
Okay.
think, I don't know how appropriate it would be if we're paying
No,
for.
I think it's Dutch treat. We'll tell them that in the
Okay.
invitation. They're welcome to socialize with us.
Okay.
Oh,
Can we
I
like
think-
invite the camera crew from Doom Patrol Live?
Oh, yeah.
KOA, no,
Yeah. I'll wear my mariachi costume.
Yeah.
I think Sergeant Frederickson was the one who came in and talked to us about how the
That'll make the
multi-agency task force actually works.
Okay.
So, anyone who contributed during the year is certainly welcome.
okay, if you can think of other names, let me get a reservation. I'll estimate 20.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
sounds
I'll
good.
estimate 20 and I'll tell them that it to be flexible. And if you think of other people who should be added, we'll add them. But
And
we
did you-
should get this invitation out. If this is for next Wednesday, this needs to go out today. Jeanette, if I,
Jamie
I mean,
Fuller.
we're in a hurry now.
Yeah.
That's the downside. Maybe we should wait a week. What do you think? Should we wait
No,
till?
let's get it done.
No,
Yeah,
don't
we're
wait
gonna
a week.
Bogged down with other holiday stuff if we don't get it done. So I appreciate you
Okay.
taking charge.
I'll do it right now.
Okay.
And Jeanette, if you can get the process started today, that would be best, if you can, please.
Okay.
All right.
So whatever comes of that, we're going to wine and dine on the 14th in the noonish hour.
Right, okay, let's set a time. Should we say 12:30? Should we, what time works for people?
Based on availability, the optimal, I guess, is 12 or 12:30. If they can't accommodate us, then, I think there's some flexibility. Am I correct? So
Okay, I'll see if they can take us at 12 or 12:30.
if it has to be 11, we're used to meeting at 11. If it has to be 1, I'll
Right,
meet.
we'll be
after.
flexible, if possible, 12 or 12:30, will do.
We'll be rigidly flexible.
Yeah.
Thank you, absolutely, or flexibly rigid.
What else? What else, guys? Anything else?
Judge, I have one random thought. I think it's either just before or just after our last meeting, I've set up a quarterly meeting with my commissioner. I went to his office and we sang to one another, asked what I thought about stuff. Is Jim Stewart, Chief Deputy, not Jim Stewart Sword.
Mhm.
And we're gonna do that every
Quarter?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, in our discussion, the thought came up that we probably needed something other than an annual report, something a little more frequently. And beyond that, I said, I expect us to be in a position to advocate, along with this report going out, visit your commissioner, the source of your appointment. Of course, we have some experts that don't have a particular commissioner.
Are
But
we just allowed to pick one?
yeah, sure. Pick one or all of them. We probably need to,
Well, we are asking in the report or suggesting that the commission appoint, some liaison, at least 1 or 2 liaisons with our board. So that might be
Yeah.
a way to keep contact rather than having to just go through our individual commissioners.
but I don't want to lose your point. Is your point that we all get out and visit with our commissioners
Well, it's,
as private citizens, not particularly as so?
Elena and I have talked about going to their meetings.
Uh-huh.
And it just never seemed to happen for me. So I thought I was just gonna be a part direct to my commissioner.
Have they backed off live meetings now too?
No, they still are having live meetings.
Yeah.
Because the city county did,
Yeah.
the city
Mhm.
council did. So, yeah, look,
And they're pretty
the point is well
lively, too.
taken though. Let's visit with our folks.
I would.
Do we have anything of a wish list I mean, as we're visiting, what would make us better, stronger, faster, Debbie Strong and having to spend less time? We said
Well, having
a
someone to
formatting
do kind of
course.
The formatting of what we're doing.
Yeah.
No one should have to carry it down.
Staff might even give us an idea of resources that we need to ask for.
Mhm.
I hearken back to the time when Jim Colley came to my office and twisted my arm on this deal. He says, "Oh, yeah, it's written in the enabling legislation that you will get resources." So keep in mind that there is supposed to be a mechanism by which we ask for stuff, and it gets consideration.
Mhm.
Let's think about
Massages.
what would make us, if in fact they tell us, are you getting any feedback, Jim? Is your commissioner saying, oh, yeah, it's worthwhile, Jim, hang in there, appreciate what you're doing?
Yeah, I've got a page of notes. I mean, he asked me specific things like, talking to the newly elected sheriff's candidate. I told him I'd spoken with him and what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I told him that I thought the SO was top heavy with management positions. Again, that's just Jim Stewart's opinion, not the SOAR.
Mhm.
He asked about the aviation program and what I thought about that. I talked to him about accreditation.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, there is a statement
Yeah.
that way, but I can't get anybody to tell me what it is. We talked about the annual report and we talked about use. Those are the things that we covered in our discussion.
And it sounds like you were doing the talking and he was listening.
He was, absolutely.
And so did he seem to indicate a position? I mean, my sense is from you mentioning this is that his position is, well, this is worthwhile, Jim. I'm glad you're briefing me this way. And we need to continue to have a SOAR. And of course, they danced around oversight when they created this because it's a different animal than APD. And so there's still that confusion in the public relative to the commentary that we get back and the question about, okay, well, what happens to the recommendations that you all make? Do you make the sheriff do that stuff? Well, no, we don't have the authority to make anybody do anything. But it appears that the think tank that we are is appreciated by the sheriff to some degree. We want to make sure it's appreciated by the commission and understood and appreciated by the public. The few members who have been able to come and give voice, and I thought the people that came here and said, I was in my uniform and to ask them not to picture me and they kind of shoved me to the side. That's valuable input. But for us, I don't know. They seem pretty secure. I don't know, but they may not have had the strength to go to Sheriff Manny Gonzalez and say, how dare you do this? So I think it's worthwhile.
There would have been, and there still might be a lawsuit, so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe by having their voice heard, we've actually saved them from
But
having
I
to write
do
a check,
That is critically important in the idea that I think when people come here to make public comment, I think they're asking us to also do something about it. It's like, or at least take action or have a discussion or bring somebody in to have a more deeper discussion. Because otherwise, what's the point of them coming here and saying, here's what it is? I think they want us to take action or become involved or search out answers to find out, like kind of what we did. I mean, finding out about this TV show, finding out about what the limits were, finding out if there was a contract or not a contract. I think we can respond and we can also let people know what we've done during that period of time, because I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know, Daniel, you might be able to say if the procedure for them contracting is a matter between the sheriff's office, the county commission, and legal. Vice Chair Strongen and I talked about language that was going to be in the report talking about what right the sheriff might have. And I said, let's back off of trying to define rights. I don't want to give them any that I don't know they have, but I don't want to subtract from any that they do have. So we'll just leave that question ominous. But it troubles me that they would enter a contract without it passing through legal. And so, that remains in the report. So have there been changes? Any suggested changes as a result of that with the relationship you have?
Not that I'm aware of. They did ultimately use Minute Track. So we use it's an internal check system where each department enters in their contracts or legal documents that has multiple checks, right? By the time they get to Minute Track, it should kind of be a final document. And that's where you have people like the county manager, county legal, the deputy county manager, whoever's responsible for it, or the sheriff's office, have their final reviews. And it's kind of a way to keep us in check because we can track that, right? It's public record in a sense at the end of the day. But I am not aware of any changes with how it works with the sheriff's office, but I do know they use it. Ultimately, they used it in this situation after the fact, but they did use it ultimately. I think it's set to expire January 1st.
Or December 31st. Yeah.
December 31st, okay.
So with the end of the administration, so expires the contract, and
Yes.
it'll be, I assume it'll be up to the next sheriff, or perhaps it's a whole new contracting process with respect to the on-patrol live stuff.
I know that, I heard Sheriff-to-be Allen speak about this, and he said he was against
He said he was-
participation in something like this, that it was too much of a distraction, and it wasn't something he was interested in continuing.
And when you're running, trying to get those votes, it's a different deal than when your troops come in and say, man, I looked pretty good in that last episode. You sure so, we want him to have the flexibility to make the decisions that he wants and needs to make. And they will probably, even though, we've got a new sheriff that seems open to ideas, please don't be disillusioned. There will probably be some moments of antagonism with him. It won't always be, it won't always be a honeymoon. And that's our
Like
role.
we've had
That's
so
our
far.
role.
I think him reading the report will give him a sense of what the issues are out in the community. That's why we put it all together.
I think he's probably got a sense, and the report will.
I hope he does read it.
reinforce that. Yeah.
I think he will.
I mean, the
he said he
commission, it
would.
goes to the commission, but I'm hoping that
Send a copy we send it to the sheriff's office, and I assume we would routinely send it to the sheriff-elect.
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
required that we formally send it to.
Why
the
don't we
sheriff's
hand
office.
it to him?
Well, that's not a bad idea. We can do
Yeah.
that ceremonially as well.
Our first thing to,
Yeah. And if you all want, we can try to schedule something where we're actually running through the report
yeah.
and perhaps have a discussion. I don't know that we can schedule that with open meetings, so.
we could put it, we could ask him to come to one of our meetings and we could present it then and
Yeah.
ask him to
On the
read, it,
20th?
provide us feedback.
The legislation is in here. Are there time parameters, Debbie, on when we have to get that to the sheriff?
It
And
just says that it has to be presented to the county commission. On
And to
our
the
last
sheriff, right?
Meeting. We have to give it to the sheriff, but I think the specific is.
We have to
do
give
with
it to the commission, but I
the
don't believe it's
commission.
required to go to the sheriff office, but I think it would be a good precedent.
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's what we did last year, so.
well, let me look at that and see how best to accomplish that. I'm getting the sense that you all wouldn't mind being involved, if nothing else ceremonially in making sure that it hits Sheriff-elect
This
Allen.
is a summation of our work.
So
Okey doke.
Okay.
So I'll do that. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Second. Any opposed? Hey, thanks. I think it's been a tremendous 2022, and we've got kind of the old talent, but we've got the new talent, and I'm looking at you, David. And so, I mean, it's really, it's really getting to be a good mix on this. Again, on behalf of the citizens of Bernalillo County, your effort is worthwhile. I appreciate you, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.